Light, capable stage pianos with onboard speakers have roared back in popularity, due mostly to the availability of lighter weight materials and more efficient speakers. Nearly all the companies now have high-performing slab digital pianos, just like these, with higher grade speakers available, intended for both individual and stage use. Roland's two specialty all-in-one stage pianos that I've got right here have both had their fair share of positive press over the last several years, the FPE50 of course having just arrived several months ago, and both are driven by the ZEN-Core synthesis engine with some supernatural augmentation. They both got speakers on board, they both have the PHA4 action, they both have a vast array of onboard sounds to choose from, and both have been designed with the live musician in mind. So if you're looking into a new gigging keyboard and you're checking out the FPE50 or the RD88, what do you go with? Well, let's find out. Well, first, let's start with what I think you're gonna really like about the FPE50. First off, the PHA4 action. Particularly for people who are coming in with an acoustic piano background, this action is weighted and balanced the closest to any action in this price range. The chord sequencer is a fast way, particularly in batch form when you do it off instrument, to achieve kind of pre-built harmonic backing to play over. That's a lot easier than having to do it on the instrument with, say, a 16-track sequencer or in a DAW where you'd have to be outputting fully rendered audio files. For more advanced players, in my view, this frees up the left hand to participate in the performance rather than spending your time trying to steer the harmonic ship. When you are playing with the live sequencer, there are some great intuitive left-hand chord control options to choose from. I think Player 2 mode is the one that I really enjoyed the most. Plus, we've got a quality and variety, 947 to be exact, of the ZenCore sounds, and you can add to that with the downloadable sound packs that are now on the Roland Cloud. It's also lighter to carry than a lot of the other full-size machines in its class. It's a heck of a lot lighter than, say, an FP90 or a Yamaha P515. It's got proper quarter-inch audio outs, and it has 256 notes worth of polyphony. For 12 watts per side, this does a remarkable job of filling up a room with tons of sound. The onboard mic effects are extensive, far more than anything I've ever seen on a portable instrument like this before. It includes vocoder effects, it includes harmonizer effects, and even though the interface would suggest that there's only two variations, there's actually four. Two you can control with the variation buttons, and the other two you can activate in one of two ways, either using interactive mode, or you can set it so that the left wheel, when pushed up, activates the more intense version of the variation, and when it's rolled back, it activates the more chilled out version. So you've actually got two versions of the two versions. Also very easy to plug a USB key in here and play back both MP3 and WAV. It's got a center channel cancel as well, so you can kind of create karaoke tracks out of thin air. As for the RD88, this resembles a more classic stage piano with 3 zones to layer with, 400 pre-built scenes to enjoy, and over 3,000 tones to select from when you're building those scenes or just playing individual sounds. You've got tons of knob controls here for all of your standard parameters, as well as 8 assignable knob controls. The effects engine for the price point and for its weight and size is truly remarkable. You have individual effects for all of those tones, then you have 2 insert effects per scene, and then you have master effects on top of that. So pared back certainly, but the same conceptual structure to how the effects engines on their Phantom series work. You've got good clarity on the highs that will cut through in a noisier environment, and you've got the Supernatural piano, Supernatural E-piano, and the ZenCore sound engine driving all of this. This weighs in at a scant 29 pounds. It's got 250 notes worth of polyphony. And talking about the speakers, rather than 2 larger downward facing speakers like we've got on the FPE50, in this case we've actually got 4 speakers, 2 upwards facing tweeters and 2 kind of mids facing down, and the combined wattage between them is 7 watts per side. So despite the fact that they're fairly close in price and both have a good selection of onboard sounds, both have speakers, both have the same action, as you can tell, their intended uses are quite different. The FPE50 is definitely intended as a solo performer, giving you some great one-person band capabilities, as we've said. And the speaker performance is beefy enough that in a smaller restaurant space or cafe, you could go without any further reinforcement if you had to. The RD88 is a slimmed down stage piano that still builds on the philosophy of real-time tactile controls that really all of Roland's RDs have had for decades, as well as the scene presets aimed at giving a wide range of sounds and textures, maximum portability, and the ability to self-monitor when needed, though really the intended use is with a PA system. In other words, this is for band and recording settings. The FPE50 is if you're a one-man solo machine. Now, let's give them both a play and see if there's any meaningful differences worth mentioning. I'm going to start first with the Roland RD88. So that's the concert piano, and we're going to play exactly the same patch over here. So after going back and forth a few times, the differences I notice are mostly in the speaker presentation. I'm not noticing that there's really any difference in how the keyboard itself is supported. I'm not feeling like there's any extra vibration in one direction or another, which can really affect your sense of depth of the keyboard. It's really just the difference of having those two tweeters facing up at you. Because these have active crossovers in there, if you do an EQ cut on the top end, you really effectively have volume control or balance control between the bottom speakers and the top. And so you can play with that really easily with the adjust, get the tweeters to a point where they're giving you that right balance of clarity without being too cutting. Now, if I was primarily just going to be playing piano, I'm not sure either one of these would actually be my first choice. I'd probably be looking at something like an FP30X or an FP60X between these two if I was sort of in this particular price range. But if I was going to be playing in a band setting and I always was going to be having mixes of 2 and 3 instruments layered on top of each other, quick recall, lots of opportunities to use the effects, there's no question the RD88 is a really well put together product intended for stage use in the spirit of, say, the old RD300s. I think the FPE50 is the ideal choice if, say, you're a singer-songwriter or you do a lot of entertaining in restaurants, you need the beefier speaker, and you could actually make use of the auto accompaniment, and those are more the priorities rather than being able to call up thousands of individual sounds and have lots of different combinations to suit a wide range of playlists that you're going to have to get through. If it's mostly going to be, say, piano or EP with some sort of a backing track, I mean, this is what the FPE50 is really made for. So I know for some of our watchers, the differences between these two might have been fairly obvious, but we got quite a few questions asking for this comparison because sometimes when you're looking through hundreds of lines of spec, it's a little hard to synthesize quickly what the major takeaways are. And so I hope this has helped with your decision. We have done extensive reviews on both of these instruments individually, so if you want to check those out, please check the description because we've got those links as well. If you happen to be shopping for these, no matter where you are in the world, we've got some links down below that'll direct you to the best prices we've been able to locate. And most of all, thank you so much for stopping by the channel. If you enjoyed it, please hit that subscribe and the notification bell. We'd love to see you back for more. My name is Stu Harrison, and we'll see you again soon.